Good evening, and welcome to the Night Owl. If you're here for the first time, well, it's good to have you. This is the other side of the Bird Brain podcast, where the things that go bump in the night come alive and thrive. And if you are a frequent visitor, well, find your seat. It's good to have you back. I will warn you, content may contain adult language and scenarios that may not be suitable for all audience members, so listeners' discretion is always advised. Tonight's story features a tale of hindsight being 2020 and believing people when they show you the first time who they are. And also, stick around because after the episode, I have a very special teaser for the continuation of Have We Met, featuring Amber Kinney of the Healed podcast and Key of My Curl Speak podcast. New episode drops next Friday. And I'm excited to have these guys on board. And there's so much more to come. So after this episode, stay tuned. All right, now that we got that all out of the way, lock your doors, check your windows, look behind you. Because you won't be sleeping tonight. I give you Afterthought. People show you who they are the first time. Every joke is half joking. Drunk words are sober thoughts. And the list goes on. Basically, it's always to say that as people, we are always, and I mean always, telling each other who we are. Even if we try to be mysterious or aloof. My best thinking seems to hit me in the shower or in the car. But those shower thoughts, they hit different because, well, you're just standing there, starting your day or washing it away, and there's not much else to do besides get clean or sing if you're feeling spicy. But my best thinking and revelations come to me in the shower. Like how I'd realized I'd been talking to a serial killer. Now, I didn't pick up on it initially because people are people. We all have our tics or just our quirks in who we are, right? To the untrained eye, no matter how many crime docs you watch, when up close, you don't necessarily know what you're looking at. And if the person is charming or seemingly normal, nothing registers. My weekends consist of a routine that I idly do out of sync and in itself becomes a routine. I get up, I laugh to myself, don't judge me, try it. I stretch, I shower, brush my teeth, I smile, drink my smoothie, and brush my teeth again. We weren't allowed to go downstairs without our teeth being brushed, and I carry the same rules here. And I laugh to myself in the morning because most people groan to themselves instead. Setting the tone, you know? And after all that, I go for a hike to my usual trail. I see other people out there, some of the usual commoners like myself. We nod and continue on, and sometimes I pet a pup because what kind of monster are you not to acknowledge a dog on your stroll? The trail has some shrub and is pretty peaceful if you're in the daylight. But too early or too late, it's like it's a completely different landscape altogether. You feel like a walking snack. I mean, I always feel like a walking snack, but this is different. I've started my day early sometimes to beat the rush, and I'd see some stragglers, or sometimes I go as the sun is setting because it's really peaceful and you have the space to yourself. You don't always pay attention until you pay attention. You don't know what you don't know. I had never noticed him before, and I'm not sure if that was by design. But one morning I'd been walking the trail and felt like I was being stalked along the way. Not necessarily by an animal either, but just watched. And the feeling went on for a while, honestly. As I continued to walk, out of my peripheral, he was walking toward me, and fast. I stopped and I jerked out the way. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I scare you? A little, yeah. Fuck you mean? Yeah, you scare me, sir. Nah, you're too quick to be caught off guard. I've seen you move on this trail, man. I've even tried to keep up your pace, and I lose you after a while. Is that so? Scout's honor. I'm Bunny. I'm sorry, Bunny? This guy didn't look like no damn bunny. He looked like a tank. Pale, built, and his eyes seemed to have like a yellow tinge to him, like a snake almost. And his smile is burned in my head. Yeah, it's a nickname I got over time for surviving a cottonmouth bite. But don't worry, I haven't seen any out here. Still some feisty little fuckers scurrying around, though. Like animals? People. He laughed. I couldn't help but laugh myself because there have been times I almost gotten steamrolled because I wasn't moving fast enough for waist trainer Wanda, or homeboy compete for the fucking Tough Mudder in his mind. But he seemed alright enough. I'll see you around. Nice running into you. Keep those bunny ears up. And just like that, he was out and on his way. I've gone in the morning and before sunset, and both times he'd been there. And I'd always meet him at the same passageway, but it's funny because it didn't look like a trail at all. For as long as I've been going, I've never seen anyone use it or even attempt to. And I will say fitness people are all a little weird. I mean, I laugh to myself in the morning, so clearly I'm not about to readily scan anyone for their level of sanity. But not after that day. It was that day. Bunny, he had this walk on him. Sometimes it was slow, like he'd been watching, or sometimes very intentional and on business, like a predator. I'd never seen him when the sun was out, only when the sun was rising or setting, from what I remember. But his skin was so damn pale that he stuck out more than the sun needed to sometimes. One morning I'd been on my stroll, and up ahead I'd seen the shrubbing, but like a lot, and it sounded like an animal being muzzled, actually. That was a brisk hike that day, I'm just letting you know. I went back home, and I decided to go midday instead the following week, since I know how horror movies turn out. Nothing to report. I'll be honest, the best part of my hikes were usually coming home to wash all that dirt off. Felt like I worked hard and it was just an opportunity for me to think through my day. The TV was on in the background and I could kind of hear it, but not really. Comes to find out they'd been talking about missing hikers being reported over the weeks. I try not to listen though because I don't want anything killing my damn vibe, especially the news. On my walk one day, I I saw the harness that was the color of one of the dogs I'd pet. I didn't pay it any mind because I figured the owner noticed and just left it. And my first thought was, they like the litter. Fucking sinners. But I don't know. I don't know why it stuck with me after. Well, I know why now. That dog was fucking smart. Somehow made it back home too. Showed up at the neighbors. But the owner never came home. They found Bunny. They apprehended Bunny. They found that owner. They found hikers. Well, he told them where they were. And it was that exact location, that path that didn't look like a path. And well, cottonmouths are called that because their mouths turn white when threatened. But Bunny was more threatening than threatened. But his smile looked like poison. And cottonmouth venom is the same thing he used on his victims. Apparently, unaware hikers were his specialty. And I almost became his meal. And now, a sneak peek at next week's episode. Have We Met, Part 2, featuring Amber Kinney of the Healed podcast and Key of My Curl Speak podcast.
Hey, just leaving work, girl. I don't know what's in the weather or the water these days, but...
People acting a little different?
Big different.
Girl, this hospital has been a mess. The nurses are just as wild as the patients. I don't know if I'm a therapist or ringmaster at this point.
Is it a full moon?
Either that or Mercury. 'Cause you know she stay on her mess.
And do?
Hey, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. You ever get that feeling somebody is just watching you? Like every aisle in the grocery store or lane you're in while driving, there they are.
Around this hospital, it's like the walls have eyes.
I had this consultation today and I think I've seen them around before.
That's good, right?
Define good.
Actually, see, I'll call you when I leave here. Something just ain't sitting right.
So there you have it. Stay tuned for next week. Have an amazing weekend. Take care of yourselves. And if you want to become a Patreon supporter, head on over to Patreon or become a supporter through Apple Podcasts. That's it and that's all. Sleep tight.
%, of households that join Peloton early in the year are still active a year later.
Yeah, if you like cycling to EDM.
Not just EDM. Try cycling to Broadway hits, take a scenic hike in Iceland on our treadmill, or row to some 80s jams.
Because I have so much free time.
Whether you have 30 minutes or just 5, Peloton can fit any schedule. 92% stick with it. So can you. Try Peloton tread, row, or bikes risk-free with a 30-day home trial. New members only. Not available in remote locations. See additional terms at onepeloton.com/home-trial.